Hello and welcome to GYM's Unstoppable Together virtual celebration event. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. The event today is being translated into 4 different languages: French, Spanish, Arabic, and Mandarin. To access a live translation, please download the Interprify app, which is available via the App Store on your phone. The access code for the event is GYMFEB2023. So once again, that's GYMFEB2023. My name is Janin, and I am a long-standing scout from Bosnia and Herzegovina, currently interning at the World Organization of the Scout Movement in Kuala Lumpur. And I'm currently studying international business at Shenzhen University in China. I will be one of your MCs for today, and I have here with me Namrata. Hello, Namrata.
Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. My name is Namrata, and we welcome you to the Unstoppable Together main virtual event. I am a volunteer with YWCA Delhi and currently working as a counselor based in Ontario, working with women facing violence and mental health issues. Here's a fun fact. I was also the MC of GYM's Global Youth Summit back in April 2021. And I'm honored and excited to be back today to celebrate the completion of this incredible initiative.
Indeed. Thank you so much for joining us from so many different corners of the world for this truly global event today. I would like to ask you to comment in the YouTube chat to let us know where you are tuning in from. And also feel free to use the chat below throughout the event to tell us your thoughts and to pose questions that you might have. Or head over to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and use the hashtags UnstoppableTogether and hashtag Youth Mobilize to get the conversations going.
We also have a dedicated word cloud and poll going for today's event, and we'll be sharing your responses from it at the end of the event. To take part, simply scan the QR code on screen now and go to slido.com and use the code 3673085. Let me repeat that for you, 3673085.
Yes, and our virtual event today celebrates 2 years of youth-led global action through the GYM, an initiative launched by the world's largest Big 6 youth organizations in partnership with the World Health Organization and the United Nations Foundation. The GYM was launched in response to the enormous challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic and the need to engage and enable young people to lead on response efforts as well as solution building in their local communities. As we start to look ahead from the pandemic, we know all too well that other emergencies, disasters, and global challenges continue to strike. Our hearts go out to those who have most recently lost their lives in the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria. Amidst these difficult times, we know that young people all over the world continue to rise up and respond to crises to support their communities. We must therefore continue the work to meaningfully engage and enable them to do this and to become unstoppable together.
As we come to the end of this first phase of GYM, we are reflecting on the strides made over the past 2 years to drive the movement for youth-led solutions forward. On the 27th of February, we will be launching our final report. The report will present our impact, global reach, stories from projects at the grassroots, and more. And it will be made available to download through the GYM website. To give you a flavor of these stories and GYM's impact thus far, we would now like to present to you this short video.
2020. The year everything changed.
Coronavirus has been identified now.
In the blink of an eye, our planet shifted on its axis. An unparalleled disruption changed the future for an entire generation. Young people around the world mobilized, from grassroots to national level. Powered by the Big Six youth organizations, the Global Youth Mobilization is a platform for young people to lead and take action on global issues, championing their ideas around the world. An unstoppable movement of young people, changing lives in more than 125 countries worldwide, offering hope of a better tomorrow to millions in communities across nations.
In Nigeria, the GYM local solution was able to promote access to COVID-19 vaccine and help bridge current gap.
We hope that through our effort, we can empower more young people in Indonesia and increase their awareness.
We want to say a very big thank you to the Global Youth Mobilization for really funding this project. We talk about young people are the future, but what happens today?
My name is Subin and I'm proud to be doing my part in Nepal as a part of Global Youth Mobilization. We share the information about mental health, its importance and the impact on young people through our campaign Talk to Me.
Mental health is very important and there is need to sensitize young people on how to maintain proper mental health during this period.
With the lockdown, social distancing, and young people being prevented from going to schools and socializing with their friends, their mental health has definitely been affected.
My name is Exuda Wale Muganga and I'm proud to be doing my part in raising awareness on domestic and gender-based violence in Zambia.
Girls are the future of 2050. Together we are standing and we have the passion to work for the world and to work with you, Global Youth Mobilization.
My name is Marvin Derito. We have managed to train over 200 young people on typography and graphic design.
More young people at the fore, more young people participating.
This is our chance for our voices to be heard.
That was so exciting. The scale and the breadth and the diversity of the initiatives that have been delivered by young people around the world simply leave you speechless. And I am so glad that we can be here today to celebrate all of them. The GYM's celebrations began on Saturday, the 11th of February, with an invigorating youth-led roundtable. And if you missed this, you can now head over to our YouTube channel and watch it.
And in today's main event, we have an interesting and exciting mix of content in store for you. We will begin with project showcases by youth-led initiatives from around the world and hear from global thematic experts providing their reflections directly on these grassroots initiatives. Following this, we will dive into a panel discussion on GYM's youth-led model. And finally, we will end with a high-level intergenerational dialogue between young people from GYM and senior leaders.
All right, without further ado, let us welcome the first segment of today's virtual event, the Youth-Led Solutions Project Showcase. We heartily welcome all 4 projects showcasing today and our thematic experts providing their valuable reflections.
My name is Kahkasha. I am the founder president of Green Hope Foundation, and our project is called Breaking Barriers, Building Dreams, a youth wake-up call to combat COVID-19. COVID-19 severely impacted the residents of a rural community of 108 families in Bangladesh, where our project is based. The village's only school had been shut down. It had no electricity or health center. There was a complete lack of knowledge and resources to combat COVID-19 and other diseases. Most of its adults became unemployed. Extreme poverty and a very bad health situation threatened the survival of many of the residents. Our project's mission was to break these barriers of poverty and empower the youth to live their dreams by empowering them to combat some of the COVID-19 impacts. We trained a group of 20 youth, 50% of them girls, on hygiene and sanitation. These trained ambassadors installed 10 hand washing stations equipped with soap bars throughout the village where the residents could wash and sanitize themselves. This group of ambassadors regularly visited each house, distributing 2 sets of washable cloth masks, explaining the benefits of washing, the need for social distancing and proper hygiene to combat COVID-19. We now provide a monthly supply of masks and soaps to the village. We installed a solar-powered computer terminal with hotspot at the school and provided basic computer skills training to the youth ambassadors first, who then transferred this knowledge to the other children in the village. This computer terminal running on solar power is now used to book vaccine appointments. The solar grid installed at the school is sized suitably to allow for adding multiple computers and a projector as part of the scale-up that are now used to provide remote learning to the children of the village. Our project thus benefited 313 people as part of the COVID-19 protection program, which is the entire population of the village, and the education program benefited the 141 children and youth who resided in that village. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to join and celebrate the remarkable achievements of the Global Youth Mobilization over the last 2 years. It is always a pleasure for me to engage with you, and I wish that I could do more to support your incredible movement. I congratulate all those that worked hard to make this youth-led movement a success. It is a pleasure to reflect on one of the projects presented by Kekesha Basu from the Green Hope Foundation entitled Breaking Barriers, Building Dreams, a youth wake-up call to combat COVID-19. First of all, bravo to you, Kekesha, and team for developing this truly essential project to break the barriers of poverty. What I found particularly impressive was the practicality of the solutions, with the clear focus on basic needs and education with limited resources, and your focus on the sustainability of these solutions. Mask wearing, hand washing are the first line of defense against the spread of illnesses, and finding ways to provide these tools to the community is truly admirable. This is not only helpful for COVID-19. Cleaning your hands helps prevent you from catching germs and from spreading them too, especially to others who may be more susceptible to illness. I'm really impressed with the idea that you trained and created youth ambassadors. Youth ambassadors represent the voices of young people. They work together to tackle barriers within their communities and empower other young people. All community-based initiatives have the common objective of achieving health for all through health and development interventions. Remember, outbreaks begin and end in communities, and communities can also prevent outbreaks from beginning in the first place. The World Health Organization leads and champions global efforts to achieve better health for all. By connecting countries, people, and partners, we strive to give everyone everywhere an equal chance at a safe and healthy life. More than ever, the world needs the ideas, the energy, and the leadership of young people to build a healthier, safer, and fairer future for all. As I say often, everyone is a leader. All of you involved in the Global Youth Mobilization are clearly demonstrating this. Congratulations again.
Hello everyone, I am Sadia Jafrin.
And this is Sumaya Khan.
We are leading the Scale Up Upper project. Wow, Wheels of Wisdom is one of the 3 winners of the 15th Public Library Innovation Award supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Global Libraries Program. We are addressing the impact of education, disruption, and employability of young people and our local communities by providing 16,000 children in rural and low-income communities across 16 communities in Dhaka, Joshua, Borishal, and Moymonsin by providing with 12,000 books to our mobile libraries van to develop their reading habits, to enhance their reading skills, and on average 10 hours of internet access each to join their online classes. This intervention will reduce the learning gap and digital divide that exists between children in urban and rural settings and contributing to ensure quality education.
As a part of our sustainability plan, we partnered with Bangladesh's largest youth organization, BYS in Borishal. They are operating the van library in Borishal Bihari migrant community. Through them, we are meeting with lots of potential donors as well. We have applied for the Queen's Commonwealth Trust Asia Pacific Youth Venture Grant, for which we were shortlisted for due diligence. We have completed our due diligence and organizational assessment. Now we are awaiting for the final approval of the grant for the next 2 years. Our main objective with WOW is to protect the learning rights of the underprivileged children and build their interest to go back to school post-pandemic, leaving no one behind. People from lower-income communities may have smartphones, but they can't afford the cost of regular or lengthy internet use. They do not need a revolutionary technology to continue their learning. They just need an easy and accessible tool, and that's what we are providing with WOW. A skilled librarian, books and ebooks, and an internet hotspot for children to go online and study. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me with you at the Global Youth Mobilization event. And let me start by congratulating, my warmest congratulations to Sadia and Sumaya for being selected as one of the winners of the Public Library Innovations Award funded by the Gates Foundation. And I think the name of your project, WOW, Wheels of Wisdom, is such a powerful one. You can visualize it, you can see it. And you know what? It's concrete and it's there. And I'm very inspired by you as young, motivated, bright, passionate young women who have decided to change the world, starting at local level, finding local solutions, because that's how all great global movements start. A couple of people, strong young women at the local level that knows what needs to be done. And I hope that you will continue to expand and grow and set an example for the rest of the world. You know, the future is in the hand of the youth. And at Education Cannot Wait, youth are around this decision-making table. We are driven by them, their needs and their solutions. And I think with the Transforming Education Summit at the United Nations, last year and the youth declaration that came out, I think you are just right on track. 2 strong women with the local communities coming up with a great solution and winning an award for it. I'm very proud, very inspired by you. And my advice is, if I had to give an advice, I think you can advise me even better, is keep going, be unstoppable, and know that you are invincible, you're strong, and just keep going and never, ever, ever give up. Congratulations. Well done. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ana Mejia. I'm volunteer of the Ecuadorian Red Cross and I'm based in Quito, Ecuador. During the pandemic, one of the main groups affected were adolescents. According to a report of UNICEF, 1 out of 2 adolescents did not feel motivated for their daily activities, and 31% of boys and 47% of girls felt pessimistic about their future. We identified that COVID-19 pandemic has left consequences on the social, emotional, and behavioral areas of adolescents in 2 provinces of Ecuador, Pichincha and Loja. I'm leader of Two Dilo project, one of the winners of IFRC Limitless Innovation Academy. We designed the Two Dilo toolbox that focus on the empowerment of adolescents of their mental health. It promotes cooperation, autonomy, and peer support in a safe space. One of our main innovations is that we use immersive gamification on our design, our concept, and our methodology, and it helps us to promote a fun space in which adolescents can learn about emotional regulation, self-knowledge, and coping, and they can gain all the skills and start talking about mental health in a really easy way and in an open space. During the implementation of our initiative, we have reached around 430 adolescents in 2 cities of Ecuador, and we expect to reach more in the next couple of months because we still are in the final stage of the implementation. We have learned a lot on this journey, and we have so much amazing experiences with adolescents, getting to know all of their things, all of the things that they value, and how can we better support them. Also, we realized that the project has an incredible impact, not only in our target population, but in ourselves. And we realized that we, as young change makers, can make a significant contribution within our communities. We believe that it's important to have these spaces for youth, to help youth gain all the confidence and break all inner barriers, and to let them transform amazing ideas into powerful innovations. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Charlotte Janiser. I am part of the National Board at the Danish Red Cross Youth. I'm very happy to be here today and happy for the opportunity to comment on this wonderful project. I think you did very well in tackling this issue of mental health struggles among youth. You even tackled it during the COVID pandemic, which not only highlighted the issue, but also made it significantly worse. I'm impressed by the reach of your toolbox and the resources that you managed to disseminate to more than 1,900 youth who would otherwise not have had this access to mental health resources. I find it very innovative how you use gamification as part of your solution. It also shows me that you are not afraid to address these issues. And I think sometimes for us as volunteers, we are too afraid to even begin to tackle it because of all the stigma surrounding mental health issues. And sometimes we believe that we cannot be part of the solution if we are not experts on mental health and psychosocial support. But you show us that these assumptions are not true. And you even highlight to us why it's very important that young people are at the forefront of creating solutions to address mental health issues amongst their peers. So I will be very curious to follow your project for the next, hopefully, years to come. And I'm excited to see how you manage to engage the change makers in accessing even more communities in Ecuador. I think the fact that the volunteers experience changes within themselves shows me that you really have them on board as being part of the overall positive change that is needed. So I hope to see your project scaled up. I'll be looking forward to an English version of the cards, and best of luck from me.
So, hello everyone, my name is Narendra. I am a member of Panazava at Madagascar, and I led our national project these past 2 years. Through Global Youth Mobilization, we have run a project on menstrual hygiene management for the past 2 years, and our main objective was to bring our contribution in ending menstruation poverty by reaching girls and young women in 8 regions and having the help of more than 150 leaders implementing it. Because we all know that period didn't stop during the pandemic. So through the different activities that we did these past 2 years, we have managed to impact the life of a lot of people. So we have managed to train our 2,000 members that include boys and girls, so guides and scouts. We have also trained 263 leaders, and they have been supporting us in the implementation of the program in all of the 8 regions that we have targeted. We trained advocacy champions as well, and they have been working at the local level since then, since 2021. We have made the challenge to distribute 1,000 pads, and we did it. More than 1,000 kits were distributed in all the regions and more. Kits are composed by 4 reusable pads and 2 bags for clean and dirty pads. Through all that, one of the best unexpected results we had is that we have been able to impact the lives of underrepresented groups like girls with disabilities, orphans, people in like very remote area, victim of violences and natural disasters, women in prison, and more. And apart from that, we have managed to impact the lives of 8,000 more people in the community through trainings, different awareness raising, and different activities we did in the communities. We have to ensure the sustainability of the project, but also of the products. We have created 3 units of pad productions in 3 different regions, and our members are now working toward income generating revenue that will support the association in the long term. To conclude, we want to bring contribution to end menstruation poverty. And here we are, 2 years later. We have equipped our members, but also the communities with knowledge, capacities, and product that they will use, that they really need, and also knowledge and information that they will pass through different generations. In all the process, we have seen how people come from really shy to become really like free to talk about menstruation, and especially bring impact into the communities. What we did might be really small, but big changes start with small changes. And we know that what we did already changed the life of so many girls and young women in Madagascar. We couldn't have done all of this without our biggest support. So to wrap this up, I would like to say big thank you to Global Youth Mobilization and WAX. Thank you.
My name is Rita Muyambo. I work at UN Women offices in New York. I also manage the engagement of adolescents and youth in the organization. Nahindra, Nahindra, Nahindra. I have goosebumps just listening to what you're doing with your project in your community. It takes me back to when I was your age, to when I started my period, and to when I could openly speak about periods. Your project touched on all those issues and I struggled with as a teenager. Your project goes on further than just information, and it captures the true essence of meaningful and effective participation, engagement, and empowerment of girls. The aspect of entrepreneurship is extremely critical for girls. It contributes to confidence, building of character, to addressing issues of gender violence against girls when it comes to bodily autonomy. So well done. It also raises awareness of the importance of addressing issues of period poverty by creating dialogue amongst generations, across genders, in an intersectional way. Congratulations for that. So keep doing what you're doing. Your project in your community is not small. Your impact is not small. The legacy of your project is the legacy of your community. Congratulations once again, Nahindra.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed that. And because it was really indeed a very powerful segment. I was left wanting to hear from more projects. The truly localized and thoughtful approaches we saw were just so inspiring, and I am curious about what these young people will do next in their communities. I think our next segment will really shed light on how these incredible projects were funded to begin with. Because it is not easy for young people in different parts of the world who have these ideas and a unique understanding of the issues their communities face to actually access the funding and support they need to power this work. Our next segment, Youth Leading the Way, is a panel discussion between young people engaged in the different layers of GYM's youth-led model, partners, and external allies, speaking to the youth-led decision-making and investment model that enable these localized youth-led solutions. I would like to hand over to the moderator for this segment, Dr. Suchi Gaur, Director of Global Engagement and Impact at the World YWCA, to begin the discussion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Youth Leading All the Way panel discussion. I am Dr. Suchi Gaur. I'm the Director of Global Engagement and Impact at World YWCA, and I'm your moderator for today. We kickstarted the event with powerful showcases of youth-led solutions from across our three streams: local solutions, the accelerator program, and national projects. And we also heard from leading thematic experts about the relevance, innovative nature, and importance that they contribute towards tackling global challenges at grassroots locally. We now want to invite you into a discussion with us on the model of global youth mobilization, taking a closer look at the different structures, approaches, and processes employed to ensure young people can lead all the way in tackling global crises and challenges they are facing through grassroots and local action. We know we have people joining us from all around the world today, and we have a poll and word cloud going through the event to capture your opinion on the topics being discussed. So please do pop on to submit your responses. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the following panelists today in our discussion. Loris Tarazi. Loris is a youth board representative from YMCA Jerusalem. She sits on the Global Youth Mobilization Board. Hi, Loris, welcome. Halima Nyoto. She's a project lead, local solutions and accelerator program funded project called Mazingria Bora, based in Kenya. Then we have Supreet Balaji, who is a Global Youth Mobilization youth panelist who joins us from India. Hi, Supreet, welcome. We also have with us Dr. Gordons, who is Director of Health and Multilateral Partnerships at World Health Organization, who's joining us from Geneva. Hi, Gordons, welcome. And we also have with us, last and finally, Dr. Chris Milora, Senior Researcher and Leverhulme Trust Early Career Fellow at the University of East Anglia, United Kingdom. Welcome, each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us today. While we start, I think I want to pose my first question to Halima. Halima, who joins us from Kenya and is a project lead for a local solution and accelerator funded project. Halima, the local solutions, which are a core part of the design, they were created to ensure we put money in the hands of youth for youth, so that they could decide from scratch how it should be spent on and which initiatives. The accelerator program then accompanied selected projects to grow, develop, and scale the impact from those projects. What do you think, as a grantee of local solutions and a part of the accelerator program, is most satisfying about this model and the approach in your experience as the designer and implementer of a project awarded? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As you've heard, my name is Halima Nyota. I have been leading an initiative supported by the Global Youth Mobilization called Mazingira Bora, and with understanding on how young people who are majority and who are the shapers of change across the world. One thing about the model of global youth mobilization is that the GYM dispensed the narrative that the narrative of youth are the leaders of tomorrow, and agreed that young people can be the leaders of today. And we're looking at a scenario whereby across the world, it is the young people who are shaping change. From the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, how young people joined to organize educating and managing programs to reduce COVID-19 stigma, to ensuring that there is change across the country, across the region. For me, one thing that I would wish to emphasize on that, yes, young people are doing a lot, but they struggle getting opportunities, getting platforms, and getting funding to accelerate and even kickstart their ideas and their project. Looking at the model is from the local solution where my project was part of, we had the opportunity to have address the effect of the pandemic on young people within the mining sector. And this was not just for me, but young people across the region. So what it means to us is that, yes, we have a lot of young people doing a lot of work, but if each and every stakeholder can take the model of global youth mobilization, where we are able to identify the ideas the young people are having, we are able to support, to connect and promote. I think that is something we need to also champion for. And giving young people micro grants, which can help them initiate the ideas and put into action. Another thing is the model of accelerator funding was to be able to promote and connect those initiatives that receive the local solution so that they're able to create more impact, reach more people, and also grow in terms of programming, financial system management, training, mentorship, and all that, and which is something each and every young person need across the world. And I think this is a model that I will recommend, and it is a conversation that each and every donor need to start having a conversation on. Thank you, Sushi.
Thank you, Alima. I really like when you said young people shaping change. It's not just young people being part of change, but young people shaping change. And that truly was the intent when we did the local solutions and accelerator program design. I want to move on to Supreet. Supreet, one step ahead of youth deciding all the way the design and implementation of these local initiative happens, is also youth deciding which projects should be funding, where should the investment go into, not just on ground, but at a global level. Global Youth Mobilization's local solutions micro grants to the local projects were decided by young people, and you were part of that panel process. As a Global Youth Mobilization youth panelist, what is your take on the importance of young people and their decision making in funding, deciding where money should actually go to?
Thank you so much, Suchi. That's a wonderful question. And to be honest, identifying the best sources of funding is crucial in any venture, activity, or program. And it's no big surprise that is the case even in decision-making which plays an important role in this particular process. But youth participation in this particular decision-making processes is, however, very critical and crucial for the funding processes too. So there's always a new perspective, new idea, new insight that is brought in by us young people. And young people are always more creative, innovative, and ideative when it comes to tackling issues or meaning to input some particular complex problems or giving solutions to complex problems. So that is one of the things that makes us better to understand where to allocate what funds. So as part of the decision-making processes, youth can also help identify projects that can contribute in the society in a long-term process. And furthermore, bringing the young people into the decision-making process can also provide an opportunity for us young people to gain invaluable experiences and develop critical skills. So giving a very brief example of my time at the GYM Local Solutions Reviews. So we first had to individually review the projects. And when we sat together as a group, we were able to understand a particular project in a very different perspective, as the power of Global Youth panel was there. So it was the biggest wheel of success towards the local solutions part, according to me. And the GYM panel review meetings brought diverse perspectives, knowledge, skills from different parts of the world. And it also brought in particular diverse realities of expertise and experiences with languages. So the feedbacks, the questions or projects that were very unique every time, these projects or these feedbacks that were given by youth panelists were helpful for understanding which project has the pros, cons, what is the good part of it, how we can make sure this particular project can be a huge success. So it is not only about granting, but it was also helping the project representatives reapply in the next round to make sure that that project can be implemented in their particular locality or particular place. So young people are often the ones who are more innovative, as I told. And the best part is we as young people have a lot of ideas, a lot of skills, but we don't have the financial support. But when young people are there in the particular board and when they're representing, okay, there's the other young person who's doing such a wonderful job, I can support him by actually helping him take the decision or helping the donors. Okay, this is a particular person who's doing so good. And who better understand a young person than a young person? So I would like to end this particular quote that I always loved with. So we young people are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but today too. So believe in us and we can bring in change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supreet. I particularly enjoyed what you spoke about the diverse piece, the diversity piece, that sitting on a panel with youth coming from so many different experiences, languages, realities, and making that decision together. It adds to actual investment going in the right direction. So thank you so much. I want to move to Loris now quickly. Loris, you've been there since start. You have been a Global Youth Mobilization board member and a youth representative from the YMCA. You have been part of the governance and the operational aspects of the program as well. Decision making at the governance levels is rarely where young people see honest representation and leadership. And we want to deep dive because at Global Youth Mobilization, we had a whole model which supported youth leaders at governance and operational level. So we want to hear more from you about your experience and the role you played, and how do you think that's important?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I would like to welcome you all. I mean, looking back at it, what a journey, and also what an honor to be able to represent the young people from all of the YMCAs and other organizations as well through my fellow board representatives. I got to have a close look and be inside where all the decision-making process, and I can testify that so far it has involved youth, honestly. And at this point, I think young people not only want to be seen or heard, but also we want our words to be taken into consideration, to be discussed and looked into. And through my sweet journey with the GYM, it has proven to do so. And it sets such a great example for other organizations or initiatives that intend to start involving young people in all sorts of their decision-making levels. And we as representatives on the board, our journey has been filled with valuable lessons that we got to learn from our colleagues on the board, the CEOs, and of course the project team, and in my case, the team from my organization as well. And because of how the GYM model is built, it was part of our role. We got the chance to stay close to other young people inside the GYM, local solutions, national projects, and youth panelists, especially like we have here Supreet who has just shared his wonderful journey. We were part of these youth panels and we got to chair them. And we had the great chance to reflect and share with them the lessons that we have learned on the board. So I think it was such a great kind of healthy loop that all of what we learned from the GYM, we got to use inside the GYM as well to further enrich the experience and the process of it. And I also would like to share that, like, for example, for my case, I considered one of my roles is to stay relevant and connected as much as I can with young people, locally, nationally, and internationally through the YMCA as I am representing them. So stay connecting, listening to them and connecting with people and young people from all around the world and the YMCAs on different levels has helped me a great deal. And I've got to know their challenges, the different approaches each one follows in case of a challenge. And I hope, while sharing my journey with them, I got to inspire and motivate other leaders to start involving more young people in the decision-making process. And I think it's a lesson I would like to share that, like, even if you're in a high-level decision-making process, staying personally connected with people on the grassroots level is crucial, as what you're doing or deciding is affecting them directly or indirectly. And I think it's a step that should be taken, and it is a responsibility to all of the aspiring leaders of today and tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Loris. That was inspiring, especially the whole piece around how within the model, what you were learning, you were able to connect it to the different layers of the youth engagement piece that the model had in build design, and yet inspire, working closely with the CEOs and inspire other leaders within your circle to be part of the decision making and governance. Now, we have heard from all three of you who have played critical role in making this model is truly youth leading all the way. We want to now move to Gordon's and Chris, who are going to share some light on what their reflections are on this that all three of you have shared. Let's start with Gordon's. Gordon's, as the Director of Health and Multilateral Partnerships at World Health Organization, an observer on the Global Youth Mobilization Board, and a key initiator of Global Youth Mobilization Initiative, what has been the journey for you? What has the learning been for you looking at this from a WHO perspective in enabling youth to truly lead all the way through this initiative? And secondly, would you say, what would you like to say about the importance of taking risks when it comes to innovation and funding? This was a risk in a new style of funding that was done. And what do you suggest for other organizations to do when they want to include young people and do programming differently? Over to you, Gordons.
Thanks a lot, Sushi, and indeed, what a journey. Let me start the journey by taking you back to August 2020. Pandemic had really started, and the media, the public discourse was, youth are the super spreader, youth are the problem. We had initiated the Solidarity Response Fund, where we got private sector and general public donations, and suddenly WHO became not only a recipient of money, but also a donor of money. And we had the board of the steering committee of the Solidarity Response Fund with Mike Ryan and Maria van Kerkhoff. And after the steering committee, we were discussing, and Mike was saying, as long as we see youth as the problem and not youth as the solution, we will not get out of that pandemic. I went privately to visit a friend in Kandersteg. I must admit, I ignored that Kandersteg is in 100-year International Scout Center. And I ignored that that friend was a scout, who then brought me in contact with Julius Kramer, one of the youth representatives on the Global Scout Board. We invited him for dinner and discussed, and we realized that there is an opportunity to engage youth. And he immediately said, I put you in contact with Ahmed Al-Hendawi, the Secretary General of the Global Scout Movement. 2 weeks later on a Zoom call, and he was speaking of the Big Six, but by then the Big Six CEOs had met at the CEO level, had co-organized a conference, but had never engaged and activated their 250 million members, which is the collective membership of the Big Six. So he was asking, could you support? I said, bring a proposal. Literally 3 weeks later, we had a 5 million proposal on the table. 2 weeks later, we had decided by October to support the Global Youth Mobilization and to get started. So, and then the journey of and I think it's also a very successful model, that the overall steering was done in a joint board the 6 CEOs, 6 youth reps, myself for WHO and a colleague from the UN Foundation, while the actual funding decisions were done purely amongst youth. So the overall steering where you need the experience, it's the experience with youth, and the concrete decision of which project deserves selection was youth only. And I think that was part of the real success of that model. We then continued the journey and realized we want, on the one hand, to continue to work with the Global Youth Mobilization, even when it now goes in a 2.0 version in the future collaboration, and WHO will remain highly engaged. But we also want to work with each of the 6 organizations. Therefore, in May 2021, we signed MOUs with all of them, really looking into how can we bring that collaboration on mental health, on reproductive health, on vaccine hesitancy, on universal health coverage, and you name it, to the country level, to the local collaboration between our country offices and the local youth groups. And looking forward, I first would want to encourage other donors. Yes, we took that risk, highly successful by moving so quickly and to seizing the opportunity. And I would never have been dreaming how much we get out of that money, because 2 million people impacted, hundreds of thousands of young being active and motivated and going forward, and what you learn what you impact immediately, but also what you learn on the way. So really highly successful and really worth investing in it. WHO didn't stop there. We also just created the WHO Youth Council, where actually the YMCA and the World Scout movement are also represented, where we deliberately took health youth organizations such as the Medical Student Association and non-health such as the Big Six members into the same youth council. I had the privilege of chairing that meeting 10 days ago. Absolute fascinated, and we brought them in contact with the member states meeting at our executive board. There is really a motivation to go forward. And as you were speaking of diversity, personally, I have the privilege of having other dossiers which are linked. I'm also responsible for Sport for Health. You probably have seen WHO's logo at the Football World Cup, where we bring those, where we also want to motivate young people being active in sports. Or we just launched the WHO Civil Society Commission. Since youth NGOs are also NGOs, I encourage all of your organizations, be it the Big Six or others, to join that movement for all civil society really being active in health. But basically, huge success, and looking forward to see even more with GYM 2.0.
Thank you so much, Gordon. What you described as such a cascading effect on organizations when risk is taken, when that first step is taken, and when you go out of the way to engage youth, it results in multiple, changes within the system itself. And that's something that as intergenerational movements, which are focused on youth leadership, all Big Six organizations have experienced. And it has further reinforced during GYM. So we are truly grateful for the support of WHO and for the work that you and your team have done in making this a reality and showcasing to the world what happens when we make sure youth lead all the way. I want to move now to Chris quickly, because Chris, you bring a very external and very valuable outsider kind of perspective to this conversation here. But you are not an outsider to the world of youth leadership and youth engagement. What, according to you, are the key takeaways that funders, partners, organizations need to take from this when it comes to we are not being tokenistic in our approach in engaging youth and making sure youth are leading processes? Over to you.
Right. Thank you very much, Suchi, for that question, and thank you to all the young people and to Dr. Gordons for your contributions, thought-provoking contributions. So, what are my three? I have three key takeaways from just listening to the panel. The first one, I think that meaningful youth engagement often begins by recognizing that often young people already have brilliant ideas and solutions to solve local issues that concern them. So for me, youth-led, the youth-led and youth-focused grant-giving mechanism that our colleagues and our young people have just presented, this is, I think, a very good example of the kind of empowerment that is facilitated when we recognize the solutions and initiatives that young people are already doing in their communities. So for me, meaningful youth participation is less about, telling people or telling young people what to do, but more about supporting young people's pre-existing social action. May that be through providing them with resources and recognizing their leadership skills so that all of this could be sustained and even scaled up, just like in the examples that you've given earlier. Second, for me, what I'm getting from the contributions is that meaningful youth participation is also about intergenerational solidarity. So I think the goal is not to eliminate adults in the conversations, and give young people all the power. I think what is really inspiring, and also the advocacy of Dr. Godins instead of putting up this group, very instrumental in putting up this group, is that it is when adults and younger generations understand and work with each other to neutralize some of the power inequalities that exist in our society between younger and older generations. So you have examples here, for example, of mentorship, examples of advocacy from leadership boards. We have examples here of providing young people a seat, powerful seats at the governance bodies. So these examples is where we can really see the impactful results that benefits not only the wider society, but also the young people themselves. So that's my second point about intergenerational solidarity. And the third really is really drawing from some of the examples of Loris and also of questions around diversity, which is really the fact that meaningful youth participation for me is about recognizing that young people or the youth, they are not a homogeneous group as if, as they are often characterized like Gen Zs and millennials and all that. We are attaching characteristics to a whole generation. But I think there are lines of segmentations and inequalities even within the youth cohort. May that be, on the basis of one's geography, gender, social status, disability. So what our colleagues have said earlier about making sure that global conversations are being applied to local solutions and local discussions is really important. So questions such as how do we engage, for example, a young woman with disability? Or how do we take into account the barriers to participation of young people from a particular race or ethnicity? I think these are really important questions. And for me, any effort towards involving young people meaningfully need to take into account first of context, but also of the intersecting identities that young people have. So those are my three key takeaways, and really just a final thank you for the very inspiring work of Global Youth Mobilization and for the examples that our young people have presented today. Sometimes youth participation can sound very idealistic, but I think your example is a proof that meaningful participation could happen. It could become a reality. So thank you for that, and all the best in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. It was really interesting, what you summarized. And I was really intrigued, particularly by the intergenerational piece that you mentioned. And we know as societies, there is a whole culture of alienating generations and saying, we know better, this generation didn't know, that generation knows better. But what we are trying to talk about is that all the generations need to work together in order to find solutions to biggest problems of the world. And your thoughts and what today we have heard from all the panelists here has been extremely invigorating. I want to close this piece of conversation first with three big kind of thoughts that come to my mind when I heard you all. One of which was the model of GYM, how innovative and multi-layered it is when it comes to youth engagement at different layers, and how that model has kind of started to let people think about addressing the systemic challenge that exists around the world when it comes to youth as leaders of present. Youth not just as leaders of future, as Supreet was mentioning, youth are leaders of present, and we are trying to do that. The second big piece is the role of intergenerational youth-centered movements that are engaging young people around the world, like Big Six. We are not just focused on youth doing certain things. We are focused on youth designing, youth creating, youth deliberating, and youth leading all the way. And the third big piece that comes to my mind is how truly moved we are to youth not being seen as a problem. I go back to what Gordon's was saying around how it started with youth being seen as a problem during COVID, and why it is truly important when it comes to not just COVID, but any other issue, to see youth as part of the solution. Youth are the true solution to finding better solutions to solve the biggest problems of the world that we are facing right now and we might face in the future. So it's not just how relevant the model became to COVID, to the fact that in COVID, youth were seen as a problem, but to how we can adapt that model to solve other big problems that the world is facing right now and might face in the future. So I truly appreciate everyone's remarks in making this panel what it was today. I want to thank our speakers, all of you individually, for not just contributing right now to this panel, but to making GYM the success. And for Chris, for your amazing reflections around seeing it from an expert eye. I also want to thank today our audience for tuning in from all over the world to join this innovative session, which talks about youth leading all the way. And I want to close this session now by really thanking Big Six youth organizations for making GYM a truly true success. Thank you so much.
Welcome back. That was such an interesting space. I was super motivated. We know the GYM model is youth-led and youth-driven, but to hear from the young people involved and to see how they were able to influence and impact at different levels was so powerful and just so exciting. Right, Janan?
Yes, I was thinking exactly the same, Namrata. And that thought leads on to our next segment very nicely, to see tangible and long-lasting results when it comes to youth engagement. We need change at all levels, local, national, and global. Spearheading this dialogue at the global level, our next segment, an intergenerational dialogue on youth-led global action, launches GYM's youth statement and leads into a rich discussion between senior leaders of global organizations and two of GYM's young leaders. I would now like to hand over to the moderators of this segment, Michelle Chu, a GYM Youth Board representative from the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, and Chris Chukwunyere Njoku, a GYM Accelerator Program awardee. Take it away.
A very warm welcome to all of you present here today. It is our pleasure to host you at the Intergenerational Dialogue on Youth-Led Global Action. The organizing of today's dialogue showcases an integral working area of the GYM, as well as what we stand for, providing platforms that will facilitate direct connections between young changemakers and senior stakeholders to have honest conversations about the common issues that both parties are actively acting in and advocating for. Before we start, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Michelle Chu, hailing from Malaysia. I'm a youth board representative of the Global Youth Mobilization from the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, where I'm also serving as a youth commissioner representing the Asia Pacific region. Together with me moderating today's session, we have Chris.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Chris Chukwunyere Njoku from Nigeria. I am an awardee of GYM's Local Solutions and Accelerator programs and the project lead of Increasing COVID-19 Education, Prevention, Vaccine Confidence and Uptake in Nigeria project. I am a public health and youth development specialist and currently an Information Futures Fellow at Brown University School of Public Health, USA. I am incredibly excited to be here with you all today. We hope you have enjoyed the different showcases and conversations in the virtual sessions so far, and I'm excited for this next segment.
Today's intergenerational dialogue is a high-level conversation between us, the young people of GYM, and two incredible senior leaders and CEOs. The first of which is Anna Siegel, the chair of GYM and CEO of the largest voluntary movement dedicated to girls and young women in the world, the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, WAGS. Anna is an inspiring leader with 25 years experience leading complex operations and multi-million-dollar budgets with INGOs, the Red Cross, the UN Agency for Palestine Refugees, government and private sector.
Our second esteemed speaker, Elizabeth Cousins, is the president and CEO of a powerful international foundation helping the United Nations to drive global progress and deliver on the SDGs, the United Nations Foundation. Before joining the foundation, Elizabeth served for several years at the UN missions in New York, Nepal, and the Middle East. She is the proud recipient of the Rhodes Scholarship at the University of Oxford. Elizabeth and Anna, we are honored to have you as part of this dialogue. Welcome, and thank you for joining. As part of today's dialogue, we are also looking forward to hearing from two more incredible senior leaders who are strong allies for young people today and who are championing youth engagement through their work globally. They could not be here with us today, but will be sharing their messages with us later on. These are Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, and Jutta Uppäläinen, the Commissioner for International Partnerships at the European Union.
We would now like to open this conversation with a statement by the young people driving GYM, the youth board representatives, youth panelists, and awardees, in which we draw from our experiences to put forth reflections and calls to all those working in the international youth and development sectors.
Global Youth Mobilization is celebrating 2 years of youth-led global action. As youth board representatives, youth panelists, and awardees of GYM, we are excited to amplify the voices of the young people GYM has reached through an investment of over $5 million, supporting more than 630 projects in over 120 countries. GYM has highlighted the difference that young people can make in the world.
Young people are indeed unstoppable together. As we reflect upon our journey thus far, we are very excited for what in store next in the space of youth engagement and youth-led advocacy. To this end, we would like to call for positive improvements across the youth and development sector in 2023 and beyond in 4 key areas.
First, upscaling of investment in youth-led community-based solutions. Global Youth Mobilization has enabled young people to create positive social impact within their communities. Young people at the grassroots were mobilized to engage with diverse, marginalized communities and diverse solutions to address underlying social issues in an effort to build more resilient communities. Amazing initiatives such as these need to be recognized, and young people need to be supported through concrete actions.
Second, empowering youths by not only investing in projects financially but also our potential. Young changemakers are actively seeking to enhance their own skills and capacities to be better problem solvers. We call for more mentorship opportunities with industry experts so that we can work towards continuous improvement personally and professionally, especially in the implementation of grassroots local solutions.
Third, connecting young people, enabling them to be strong and collaborative peer networks. Young people enjoy being part of a community of like-minded local actors, and we yearn for opportunities to network, learn from, and collaborate with other young trailblazers addressing similar issues across the world.
Fourth, involving young people in high-level policy and decision-making. More doors need to be opened for grassroots youth changemakers to speak up on the issues that we are experiencing and the realities that we face on the ground in our communities every day.
Through Global Youth Mobilization, young people were able to identify, address, and unite diverse communities through the power of action, innovation, and sheer perseverance to make a remarkable social impact across the world. A powerful transition from troublemakers to change makers, despite the numerous hurdles we sailed through. It is now evident that the journey to create sustainable communities cannot be done alone, but with meaningful intergenerational dialogues. It is time that the global leaders prioritize the potential of young people through accessible funding, involvement in policymaking, and opportunities to lead change. Invest in us, young people. Invest in the future today.
Being part of the development of the statement and the bringing together of the different youth voices that have fed into it, I just want to say that I'm extremely inspired and proud of all the young people that mobilized to lead positive change at all the different levels of the GYM, which include change for each other through enabling meaningful youth engagement as youth board representatives, change for youth leaders at the grassroots trying to tackle key issues in their communities, through enabling accessible and youth-friendly funding, and change for the world through being part of and helping to drive this unique youth-led model that really is an example of what can be achieved when we enable young people to meaningfully engage and lead on global issues. Before we dive into our conversation today, let us hear from Dr. Tedros on his thoughts and reflection on the GYM and our youth statement.
2 years since its launch, I'm proud of the achievements of the Global Youth Mobilization. More than 600 young people and youth-focused organizations have engaged millions of young people and their communities to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and the challenges it presented. We have seen a youth-led model for leadership, decision-making, and localized solutions that should encourage others to invest in the ideas and potential of young people everywhere. I welcome the GYM's youth statement, and I agree completely that it's critical we listen to and include young people's voices and experiences in policy and decision-making, that we trust and invest in their potential to lead positive change in their communities, and that we help them build strong networks and partnerships. WHO is committed to harnessing the ideas, the energy, and the leadership of young people through the WHO Youth Council and the Young Professionals Program, the Global Model WHO, and of course, the Global Youth Mobilization. Thank you all for your ongoing commitment to a healthier, safer, fairer future for our world. I thank you.
Thank you for your incredibly encouraging message of support and solidarity, Dr. Tedros. It is important to say that we could not do this without allies such as yourself opening the doors for young people to engage and lead. On that note, Elizabeth, may I invite you to provide your reflections on the youth statement and the model of GYM?
Well, thank you, Michelle, for your warm introduction. I'm absolutely delighted to be here with you, Chris and Anna, and thank you to everyone who is participating today. I love that youth statement, and like Dr. Tedros, I'm a huge fan of Global Youth Mobilization. In just a couple of years, and they were such hard years, GYM had such reach and so much impact across so many communities, and that work is incredibly inspiring and genuinely mobilizing for honestly all of us. The UN Foundation is very proud to have financially supported Global Youth Mobilization. I think, as you know, we did that through the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund, which in those earliest days of the pandemic was the first and only way for individuals, organizations, companies, philanthropies from anywhere in the world to contribute directly to the global health response led by WHO. It was a fast and scaled way to get resources where they were most critically needed. And I'm so proud that funding the creation of Global Youth Mobilization was one of the absolute earliest priorities. We know the pandemic upended the lives of young people massively, putting at risk their health, their livelihoods, education, and so much more. And to the credit of our friends at WHO, they were early champions of the Solidarity Response Fund, directly supporting young people at the front lines of the pandemic. And we were just delighted to partner with the big 6 organizations who shaped Global Youth Mobilization so wonderfully. An important point about GYM for listeners is not only the local solutions, which are extraordinary, the 630 projects that led to real results for so many communities, but also that in its design, in putting young people at the center of decision-making and governance, you also created a model that has just tremendous potential for the future. So consider us an enthusiastic supporter of your 4-point call to action. We're happy to play a role in helping you realize it. And just congratulations again to everyone who contributed to the success of Global Youth Mobilization.
Thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. And once again, thank you for your support as well. I completely resonate with you that the accessible funding model of GYM has really provided so many opportunities to grassroots youths who are actively searching for solutions to contribute to their communities in the very hard times that we all face, the challenges of COVID-19. And I'd like to follow up with another question, Elizabeth. Young people around the world today are striving to build a healthier, fairer, and more sustainable future in the midst of all the barriers that they face. So speaking on the theme of being unstoppable together and the importance of intergenerational partnerships, how can senior leaders like yourself ensure that young people are at the heart of solution building for the issues that affect us and our communities, and that we're better supported and equipped to take action to ensure that we can do our part in global efforts to meet the SDGs?
Well, first, Michelle, let me underscore the premise of your question. Young people absolutely need to be at the heart of solution building and decision making. We cannot have a productive future or a fair future if half the world's population under 30 isn't meaningfully engaged in designing it, including with a view to the 11 billion people still to be born this century. But as we know, and as you very well know, the engagement of young people can be superficial. It can be tokenistic. So we need young people, not just on the dais, but at the table where decisions are being made and implemented. And I certainly see that as a huge need at the global level where we do so much of our work. So if we're serious about reimagining and rejuvenating the multilateral system for a better and fairer future, we absolutely have to create meaningful platforms for young people to shape those agendas and those decisions, including intergenerationally. So at the UN Foundation, we've been proud to support the Unlock the Future Coalition, in which GYM is so active, that brings together young changemakers around the world and 23 of the world's largest youth-led and youth-focused organizations with a global reach of nearly 1 billion people for precisely that purpose. Through the Unlock Coalition, we're constantly trying to develop and support and pioneer tools that give young people concrete opportunities for exactly that influence on global decision-making. So that includes collaborative processes like the Big Brainstorm, which is a virtual event that engages young people around the world in a design sprint to explore, prototype, and launch initiatives to tackle big challenges. This year, the Brainstorm is kicking off again just about now through the end of February, and it's focused on SDG acceleration. We already have 2,000 young people registered to participate. It includes hosting an engine room as an ongoing forum for collaboration and cross-community support, very much along the lines of your calls to action. And it includes working together on this absolutely vital question of funding and improving the quality and quantity of financial support to youth leadership and youth-led work. So look, I'll just close by underscoring what a pivotal year this year, 2023, is. We hit the halfway mark on the SDGs, and we have got to re-energize its core ambition to build a better future and leave no one behind. We have the global stocktake on progress under the Paris Climate Agreement. We have summits on financing, high-level meetings on global health, and real opportunities, therefore, to align powerfully around an ambitious agenda for change that can truly drive progress for everyone, everywhere. And I'm just really excited to see what young people like you, working with colleagues and partners around the world, can get done in this really decisive year.
Thank you for the incredibly insightful words. It seems like there's a lot in store for the year ahead, and hopefully lots more positive development for youth engagement and youth-led advocacy.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Elizabeth. I would now like to invite the Commissioner for International Partnerships at the European Commission, Jutta Oplinen, to share her thoughts and messages with us.
Hello, everybody. Let me first thank you. I am truly inspired by the young people who took part in the global youth movement. I could not agree more with your youth statement. Creating sustainable communities demands meaningful intergenerational dialogue and youth participation. This is at the heart of my work as the EU Commissioner for International Partnerships. I created the first youth sounding board for international partnerships. Now we have a group of 25 young people from around the world advising us on our policy making. With their support and input from youth organizations, the EU built its first ever youth action plan for external action. It focuses on similar elements as the movement has prioritized: engage, empower, connect. To engage, we will increase young people's involvement in policy and decision-making, including in political parties and civic movements, supporting grassroots organizations, and promoting freedom of assembly. To empower, we will work to give young people the skills they need. We will offer youth-friendly financial support for youth-led initiatives. And to connect, we will promote youth mobility, exchanges, and networking. Dear friends, this is the most important message from me. I hear you, I trust you, and I will continue doing everything I can to empower you and give you a seat at the table. Because only together we can build more sustainable, resilient, and inclusive future.
Thank you so much for hearing our calls to action and reflecting on our experiences, Commissioner. It is clear that what we are calling for is being put into action by the European Union through the Youth Action Plan. I am truly excited and look forward to seeing the impact this work will have on young people globally. Anna, could I now turn to you? As the GYM chair, you have been at the forefront of leading this initiative. Your vision and leadership has enabled us to actualize these ideas and build this movement. Could I kindly invite you to share your reflections and thoughts on our youth statement?
Thank you very much, Chris. First, I want to say it's a pleasure to be here on behalf of the Global Youth Mobilization Board of CEOs of the Big Six and the Youth Board representatives. Thank you for the youth statement. It's inspiring, and the 4 key calls for positive improvements in the youth and development sector are inspiring also and need to be heeded. First, invest in youth. Second, empower youth. Third, connect youth. And fourth, involve youth in policy and decision-making. Over the past 2 years in delivering the Global Youth Mobilization, we, the Big Six, have learned so much from you all. From the young people who sit on Jim's board, the youth panelists who have driven decision-making in local solutions micro-grant programs, and all of the young changemakers who have been working to build back better from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. We plan to be guided by this learning, by your voices and feedback, and to have it inform and shape the way we work with you in the future. Over to you now, Chris. I was impressed to learn about the project you delivered through Jim's Accelerator program. Your project created a network of global youth mobilizers who inspired young people across communities in Nigeria to combat misinformation about COVID-19 and to increase vaccine uptake. As the chair of the Global Youth Mobilization, I'm delighted to be sharing this platform with you and would like to know, looking ahead, what are your hopes and ambitions for your project? And how, in your opinion, can young people such as yourself best be supported to continue and amplify the important work you are doing? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question, Anna. The GYM Accelerator program provided my team and I with the platform to be empowered with funding, capacity, and mentorship. This gave us the opportunity to build a more effective team. I believe when young people like me are equipped and empowered with knowledge, skills, and resources through funding, capacity building, and mentorship, there is no limit to how much impact we can create globally. Looking ahead, I hope to continue to work with the over 70 global youth mobilizers across 7 states in Nigeria who have been equipped to address COVID-19 misinformation and improve vaccine uptake. We hope to ultimately create a network of at least 1,000 global youth mobilizers across all the 36 states in Nigeria who would develop innovative solutions to not just only combat COVID-19, but other social and development issues within their communities.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, Chris. We're all rooting for you to reach your target and beyond in cultivating more youth mobilizers. And we're now at the end of our dialogue today. It has certainly been an inspiring and energizing conversation. We hope that all of you joining us here today felt a similar positive energy as we highly encourage you to continue engaging in intergenerational dialogues like this. By reflecting on the experiences and lessons learned from GYM, we also hope that it will help you or your organization to spearhead innovations on new models of youth engagement. Let us work collectively to create enabling environments for young people to contribute their ideas and solutions to social issues of grave concern to our generations in hopes that we could prevent their exacerbation that would ultimately affect future generations.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Anna, for the time that you've given out of your busy schedules to grace the event and for bringing in your expertise. Thank you to Dr. Tedros and Commissioner Juta for sharing their reflections and being key allies for young people.
We also like to extend a big thank you to our global audience for tuning in and supporting us over the past 2 years. We hope that you'll join the conversation and share your thoughts and reflections with us through our word cloud and poll, as well as on our social media platforms across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook using the hashtag YouthMobilize. Thank you and goodbye.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed the final segment of today's main event. That conversation really shone light on how critical it is that young people are a part of creating a roadmap for our future. And the leadership of the Big Six in driving this has demonstrated how it can be done. I also really liked when Elizabeth said, with half the world's population being under 30, young people absolutely need to be at the heart of solution building and decision making. We cannot have a productive or fair future any other way.
That was truly a nice reflection, Namrata. Thank you all for engaging with us throughout today's main event and for sharing your insights with us via the word cloud and polls. Here's what you have told us. We asked you, what do young people need to lead change on issues that affect them at grassroots? And I see here mentorship, financial support, skills, opportunities, leadership trainings, and many more. Truly inspiring inputs. Thank you all for taking part.
That was actually amazing. Janin, would you like to take over the next question?
Yes, then we can move now to the polls. Let us turn to the polls and show you how you have voted. We asked you, how important do you think it is to have young people making decisions about youth engagement and funding opportunities? 89% of you strongly agree, and we hope today's conversations can help inspire and drive more youth-led models forward.
Yes, that 89% is actually a big percentage, and I'm so glad that people agree with this. The next question of the poll was, how involved are you in the spaces in which you currently participate in intergenerational dialogue? Half of you who voted said that you were involved in intergenerational dialogue. That is so encouraging to see. But of course, we need more of this. And after today's discussion, we know just how critical it is. Moving on to the next poll, the next question that was asked was, how important are direct funding opportunities for young people to lead change at the grassroots? The results that we got were loud and clear that 100% of you want to see more direct funding opportunities for young people at the grassroots. And we completely agree too.
Furthermore, we had, how important do you think it is for young people to have leadership on issues that affect them? The results on this one are also overwhelmingly clear, and we can see that you are reaffirming this in the YouTube chat as well. We need young people to lead solution building on the issues that affect them.
And finally, we had the last question in our poll, which asked you all, can investing in young people's ideas help to build their skills and strengths? I really like this question, actually, as it's not just about providing funding, it's about helping young people build their skills too. And it's great to see that 89% of you agree. We would love to keep this conversation going. Stay connected with the GYM through our website and social media. Look out for updates on future opportunities and make sure to download our final report on the 27th of February.
Indeed. And with this, we come to the end of our time together here, but only to take a brief break before we jump into the Youth-Led Solutions Showcase side event starting at 2:45 p.m. UTC. If you have enjoyed hearing directly from projects and young people from around the world, you must join us at the side events for a deep dive into the projects under each of our thematic areas, and also a Q&A with the thematic experts. The 4 side events will be running at the same time, and you are welcome to join the one that interests you the most. You can find the links for each of these in the YouTube description below, as well as on our websites on the Youth-Led Solutions Showcase side event page.
Before we leave, on behalf of the Big Six, we would like to take this opportunity to thank a range of incredible and important people involved in powering the GYM. We would like to begin by thanking the World Health Organization and the United Nations Foundation for their support through the COVID-19 Response and Solidarity Fund, and all of our partners for their continued support over the last 2 years.
We would like to thank the GYM board, GYM leads, and teams from across the Big Six, the GYM Central Coordination Team, national project managers and teams, accelerator program facilitators, panelists, mentors, our youth board representatives and youth panelists, and most importantly, all of the young people that mobilized through GYM to build back from COVID-19 and support their local communities. Thank you all for the immense time, energy, and passion you have brought to powering the GYM.
Finally, a big thank you to all our speakers and panelists today for their invaluable insights and contributions, and to all of you for joining us from different parts of the world. Take care, get yourself a drink, stretch your legs, and remember to join us in about 10 minutes at 2:45 p.m. UTC at one of our four side events. Number one being COVID-19 prevention, vaccines, and combating misinformation, followed by mental and physical health. Education, disruption, and employability being the third one. And finally, gender equality and combating domestic and gender-based violence.
For links to the side events, again, look in the YouTube description below or head over to our website. See you all there, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.